East regular season title, hosting this guy's team. Patrick Ewing, the former Georgetown star, now with the Knicks at the Garden tonight. Here's the current big man doing big things for Georgetown. Alonzo Mourning, 17 points for them. Malik Sealy, 21 for the Redmen, who opened this game up in the second half. They also got some power moves from Shawnell Scott working inside. St. John's wins it 65-49 to clinch a share of the Big East regular season title. Finally,
Louis, join him. They met again tonight with his share of the Big East title at stake, and he wanted to beat Louis.
You know it. Sweaters ranging from 38 short to 48 extra long, and a history with these schools rich with games of import. Even in this season where nobody in the Big East has really sparkled, Georgetown and St. John's is special. In Madison Square Garden's big house with the Big East regular season title, or a slice of it, yours for the grabbing. Yes, it's a special place, the Garden, and Malik Sealy and Alonzo Mourning each with their eye on the prize to be in March in first place in the Big East. Alonzo rejecting Lamont Middleton. Then Sealy tries to go baseline. Alonzo gets him from behind. And then Mourning rejecting Chucky Sproling. And then a class of 85 Hoya graduate remembers how he rejected the Redmen. And he can identify with what Alonzo is doing tonight. Patrick watching as Mourning went to work on Shawnell Scott and then on Middleton once again. 7 blocks on the night for Alonzo Mourning, but he couldn't do it alone. In the first half, Georgetown had more turnovers than field goals. David Kane, the steal for the Redmen. And then Scott with a long pass to Sproling for the layup. And St. John's by 7 at the break. Georgetown scoreless for 7 long minutes in the second half. Sproling finds Sealy. The Redmen on a 10-point run during those 7 minutes as they put it away. Sproling to Sealy again for an exclamation point. 49 points on Louis' team. That is tying Georgetown's lowest ever Big East output. Big win for the Johnnies, 65-49. St. John's clinching at least a tie for the Big East title. And it's the latest in a season the Big East has been led by an unranked team. The Big East champ will have at least 5 losses in conference. That is the most ever. Georgetown shot only 37.8%. So the Johnnies clinch a tie at least for the share of the regular season title, but Georgetown and Seton Hall and Syracuse still have mathematical chances. Wouldn't the Redmen like to have back that visit to Miami when the Hurricanes shocked them for their only Big East win? Well, the Redmen had been undefeated in conference since losing their visit to Georgetown. They then held UConn to 57 points and then began a trend and a streak which holds through the night.
Folks at LaSalle feeling the fever today. March Madness fever, that is, because of victory over Manhattan tonight in the MAC Conference Final, and the Explorers are NCAA tournament bound. Also on the verge of grabbing an NCAA tournament bid, John Chaney's Temple Owls, who yesterday beat St. Joe's 75-59 in quarterfinal play of the Atlantic 10 tournament. Of course, if they win their tournament, they get the automatic bid too. Now tonight, Temple must take on the Mountaineers of West Virginia in the Atlantic 10 semifinal. That's 7 o'clock at the Palestra. And of course, from there, they hopefully move on to the championship game and get that automatic bid. Once again, LaSalle tonight takes on Manhattan, that in Albany, New York at Knickerbocker Arena. They win that game, they are going to the field of 64. Also on tap tonight, the North Atlantic Conference semifinals. Drexel hosting Maine and Delaware hosting Vermont. The winner of that particular conference final gets an automatic bid too. So we got a couple of teams there, local teams, trying to get into the field.
MAC championship. Winner goes to the NCAA tournament. They call it the dance, I guess. Speedy was dancing tonight. Watch him here, trying to keep up with the action. He flops to the ground. LaSalle was down at 1 point tonight by 9 points to Manhattan. That's why Speedy's in trouble. But in steps Randy Woods. Big steal. 32 points for Randy tonight. We see the score there. Even bigger play by a bigger guy, Braun Holland, a banger from Bangor, Pennsylvania, which is just north of Easton. LaSalle up by 1. They hold on to the win as Randy will take the basketball and say, let's get out of here. They win at 77-76. They are dancing because they are going to the big dance. They are going to the NCAA tournament. Randy Wood says, yeah, we did that. Now let's go home from Albany. But Temple may not get their invitation based on a sorry shooting performance tonight versus West Virginia. The Owls shot only 26% in the Atlantic 10 semifinal. Owls versus the Mountaineers, the mascots going at it here, getting their shots in. They're hitting their shots. West Virginia at 1 point missed 9 in a row. How bad was it? Temple hit 14 of 54. The gang that couldn't shoot straight, Mick Kilgore does hit a 3 there. Temple down by 3 late in the game. Vic Karstoffen has one try for the tie, but no. They do a great job of keeping it in. They go over to Karstoffen, another try for the tie. But no, they lose 44-41. It is doubtful at 17 and 12 whether they're going to get in. Now, in the another Atlantic 10 game, this one just in, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, 78-67. Massachusetts has defeated Rhode Island 78-67. Now to the net. There he goes, number 21. Also, there's guard Clarence Armstrong. He had 22 points. Drexel with 97. The Maine had the opposite score, that is 79. So Drexel now goes to the NAC final. They're going to meet Delaware. Blue Hens, Ricky Deadweiler with a drive here versus Vermont. Then Alex Coles will slam it in. He had 17 points as Delaware dunks Vermont 76-64. So right there in the Delaware Fieldhouse with all those crazies, Wednesday night at 7:30, Drexel at Delaware for the NAC title and a bid to the NCAA tournament. That is college basketball. To this
Davis Arena. Today it's the Big East Championship quarterfinal round, and our first game features the Orangemen of Syracuse and the Wildcats of Villanova. Here are the starting lineups. For Syracuse, at forward, number 4, Dave Johnson. At forward for Villanova, number 24, Greg Woodard. For Syracuse, at forward, number 21, Lawrence Bolton. And at forward for Villanova, number 32, Mark Dowdell. At center for the Orangemen, number 13, Conrad McCrae. And at center for the Wildcats, number 41, James Bryson. At guard for Syracuse, number 15, Adrian Autry. And at guard for the Wildcats, number 14, Lance Miller. At guard for Syracuse, number 33, Mike Hopkins. And at guard for the Wildcats, number 15, Chris Walker. Head coach of Syracuse, Jim Boeheim. Head coach of Villanova, Raleigh Massimino.
This is the 35th meeting between these two teams. Roley's club has won 6 of the last 8. We'll have the opening tip. The quarterfinals coming up after a word from your local station. Jumper won't go. Dowdell with a follow. McCrae the rebound.
And against a team like Villanova, which likes to get ahead of you and control the pace with a half-court style, you don't want to get behind big early.
That's exactly what Boston College was able to do last night. They got ahead of Providence College, controlled tempo, and won the ballgame.
Gives you a lot of options when you're in front. You can either push the pace or you can slow it down, and Villanova likes the half-court style.
Moten throws it away. He got trapped along the baseline. It's Walker, fouled by Autry. Count the basket.
Top shot by Chris Walker. And that gives your team an emotional lift when you can finish on a tough shot like that one.
The Wildcats are on a roll.
John, the defense keying the good offense. Walker heard the whistle and got the shot out very wisely to get the 2 shots, and the basket going in a bonus, and he's celebrating.
Walker trying to put the first 5 points of this game on Villanova's side of the scoreboard. Can't do it, but Dowdell follows. He misses and will go to the line.
They won their first 6 games in conference play. Then they went on a 6-game losing streak late in the year, capped by a 30-plus point defeat at Boston College, but then turned it around with a win against Miami, and they've been on a roll since with a huge win, capping the season at the Dome last Sunday.
Well, that's a place where they, all the Big East teams, have been able to win. So it is a 5-point Nova run to start the ball game. Syracuse looking for its first basket. Johnson outside, and the Orange have lived and died by this shot.
They live with it on that one. They've made over 120 3-pointer.
Final minute. That's on Woodard. Miller looking for his first basket. Gets it.
That's Lance Miller, slashing, penetrating. He needs to do more of that.
Final 30 seconds of the opening half. Syracuse is going to eat up the time. Shot clock is off. Gets it back at the buzzer. Won't count. It does not count. The difference is 2 points as the teams head to the locker room at Madison Square Garden. Syracuse 25. Wildcats 20. Everybody's involved. Autry has it. Rowley wanted a walk called. Didn't get it.
I'll say.
Here is Autry giving it up to Johnson, and he's fouled by Bryson.
That is a walk.
More chances than Syracuse. Kicks high, tipped in by McCray.
They'll give that one to Bryson, though. I think he was closest.
Now Mike Kipps wants to straighten out. It is a 2-point basket. So let's give James Bryson 14 points thanks to Conrad McCray. And just like that, it's a 3-point ball game. Foul is on Madison Square Garden. 1 out of 2 for Hopkins.
Good poise to make the second, and it's defense time now for the Q. See if Villanova can find Lance Miller or Wooded from the perimeter.
Now, Walker has been playing with 5 fouls. Rowley made no attempt at all to bring him out of the game after he picked up number 5. He knew he needed it.
Nice help by Dowdell that time. Walker needed him.
Dowdell, he's open, doesn't take it. Finds Woodard along the baseline, and Woodard scores.
Pretty good give and go, though.
Hopkins to Autry. Inside, 2 minutes left. Autry scoops it up. It won't go. It's an offensive foul.
Oh, that's a huge play right there.
That's the 5th on Autry. 51-49 with 1:48 to play. Because remember, he's playing with 5. If he gets the block call, he's gone.
That's right. The seam has been to Dowdell if they can dump it inside the guard.
Walker for 3. Battle for the rebound to Adrian Autry.
Big thing right now for Syracuse to get a good shot off.
Autry into the lane with penetration. Missed the shot, tipped up once. Twice, and the second time in by McCray.
What a tip that was. Somehow got a hand on it. It went up for a second time, and the English going the right way to pull it in.
What a battle under the boards. 4-point lead. Stolen by Lawrence Moten. He traveled. He carried the ball.
Wow, what a break.
Villanova's still in it. 4-point ball game. Miller steps into the lane. High in the air, bending in. Count the basket.
Talk about delivering. He splits the top, John, which was the key, and then able to get it up over McCray on the play.
It's a foul line. Miller just moving into double figures, looking for number 11. Gets it. It's a 1-point ball game. Autry almost lost it. He is fouled by Dowdell. Bends the second one off. It's a 2-point ball game. And that is the last timeout of regulation for Villanova. Well, the Wildcats reacting.
You can either tie this thing up and go into overtime or send yourself to the foul line where you've got a chance to get a couple of foul shots.
It is 50.
You got the momentum.
Coming up next is Boston College and Seton Hall. The Eagles taking on the Pirates.
Be happy if you could send this thing into an extra session. Miller has tended to be the go-to guy.
Miller gets free. Into the lane. Off the glass. Too strong. Dowdell's follow miss. Tipped up again. Here's Dowdell again. Tipped up. Bending. Tipped up again by Dowdell.
Oh, amazing!
To the rebound. And he's fouled with 3.4 seconds to go. They had 4 cracks at it, Ronnie, and they were point blank.
Wow. That ball.
Johnson hits 1 out of 2. It's a 3-point difference.
Gotta let it ride.
Miller at the buzzer. And Syracuse has advanced.
Down low, Scott spins. Oh, big shot from Chanel Scott. St. John's has got a 4-point lead in the overtime. Jim Calhoun calls a play off the Connecticut bench.
It's got to be something.
Buchanan's going to take it. Doesn't get the bounce. Back to to Connecticut, trailing by 1. Passes up the 3, trying to dish, and it's stolen by Wardan.
Boy, he had a good look. Again, trying to get to that baseline and jam it closer.
And St. John's will use one of their timeouts. Under a minute to go in the overtime.
Become tentative. Both teams really just start playing on their heels, maximizing each possession, and really get away from their strengths and what could possibly give them a 2, 4, 5-point cushion. Each possession a grind and a strain.
And that's a foul.
Yeah, and obvious. If he drops both, I think the Huskies have to push it up ahead and try to get a quick 2, throw it inside, try to get a quick 2 or a foul, and then maybe if that's not available, throw it out and try to take a good 3.
Here comes Chris Smith. Burrell, little screen. Marshall, also a screen out there. Now Burrell gets it. He's going to take it. Rebound. Burrell picks it off. Looking for the 3 to Fair. Gets it back. Tries again. Rebound Seeley. And he's fouled. And St. John's is looking like they're going to advance.
Boy, you can't get a better look than Burrell got on that second one.
You would think they want to stop the clock unless they can't get the ball in bounds for some reason.
Now, even if he makes this one, I think the Huskies just have to push it up and try to get a quick 2 because St. John's won't foul. They won't be that aggressive defensively. They should be able to get a quick 2-point field goal.
2 for Seeley. And St. John's does take a timeout. Never again will I second-guess Louis. That's what he's going to do with his timeouts. 62 to have the opportunities to win this, and it appears it has slipped away.
Yeah, it's been, what, 5 years?
Yeah. They would face the Hoyas of Georgetown. Danielle Marshall takes it, comes up short. Smith back to Marshall again. He'll try again. Still short. Seeley, another rebound. And St. John's advances to the Big East semifinals. Jason Buchanan fouled by Chris Smith. But it would appear that Luke Carnesecca has found himself a new sweater. Our infinity player of the game, number 21 with 29 points. At 18 down there.
Yeah, that's 18 boards. He had 18 in the win here earlier this year.
Ties a career high. Buchanan. Icing. Into Smith. He gets the layup. They count it at the buzzer. And that is the end of the ball game. And the end of a lengthy day of basketball here at Madison Square Garden. Robert Wardan will play again tomorrow. This time it'll be Alonzo Mourning. We'll have to see. Not an easy comeback. We're going to take a look at the updated brackets for you here in this Big East tournament. It's set up for 2 semifinal games tomorrow. Syracuse, 24 hours. The last one going to overtime. And St. John's emerges as a 5-point winner. Lots of people we would like to thank for
Not the most incredible shot of March Madness. Let's go to Fort Collins, Colorado for the title game between Texas El Paso and BYU. 71-70, fourth quarter, 2.5 seconds remaining. BYU inbounds the ball to Kevin Nixon. He throws up the shot. He makes it. Do you believe this? 73-71, BYU wins the thriller. They are the WAC champions. Unbelievable finish. After the game, Nixon said he didn't remember much about the shot. Talk about an up-and-down night. In the first half, he was benched after scoring only 1 basket. 20 minutes later, he wins the game, and the Cougars take the WAC championship.
Tough hack coupled with a UCLA loss would give USC a share of the league title and an automatic NCAA bid. That's George Raveling, hoping his Trojans could play some D, but it was Arizona, which was hot. Matt Othick drilling the three. The Cats up 63-60. Still a 3-minute lead, under 2 minutes. Harold Miner drives, but Yeaman Sanders follows. George Raveling's game plan isn't unraveling, but his wardrobe is. Wildcats by 1, 10 seconds left, a mad scramble. That one doesn't go, but Rodney Chapman at the buzzer. Does it count? Yes. Yes. Unbelievable, 80-79 the final. Rather 70-69 the final. Look, you see, shot gets off in time, and the crowd is going crazy. Again, 70-69 the final. Harold Miner with 21 points in that one. So that town taking on third seed at St. John's. You knew it was going to be physical. Brian Keeley mugs Malik Sealy. Guys giving him the Sealy of approval. The intentional foul called, and Lamont Middleton takes his own shot at Kelly. Cooler heads would prevail. Morning was huge for the Hoyas. 2 of his 25. Get this, he's already set a Big East tournament record for free throws and free throws attempted. He had 25 points. Georgetown up 4, 10 seconds left. Jason Buchanan nails the 3, cuts it to 1, but St. John's calls timeout. They didn't have any left. The refs assessed the technical, and Louis, not happy as the jumper. Ties it at 58, tied at 66. That's Edwards with the key steal, the key layup. Give this guy the key to the city. The Orangemen with a 2-point lead. 7 seconds left. The hair off the iron. It's no good, and the Orangemen win it 70-66. Another tough, hard-fought game. It'll be Syracuse and
University, but today that job instead went to Chris Rulak, a former assistant at Colgate and Dartmouth. Montgomery was a finalist along with Rulick. It would have been Wilbert's first coaching job on any level. That apparently was a factor in Chaney's decision. Rulick has also coached at Westchester University, and before that on the high school level at Washington and Simon Gratz. Well, during his course, we'll try and get past their opening round game against Seton Hall. LaSalle is a little disappointed with its low seed. They think they can play with the best the Big East has to offer. Milko Levers and the Explorers say they'll be ready for the Pirates.
We played a Big East team before, who's a team that's here in Philadelphia, and we've been pretty successful against them in the last couple of years. So, no, I don't think that should matter. We just have to go out there and just play our game.
Here's one more look at the pairings. On Thursday at 12:10, LaSalle plays Seton Hall. Then on Friday in Atlanta, it's Temple against Michigan. That game begins at 7:30. Delaware takes on Cincinnati. That's Friday afternoon at 2:45. And also on Friday at 10, it's Princeton against Syracuse. In the NIT Wednesday, Villanova is home against Virginia at 7:30. At 9:30, it's Penn State hosting Pitt.
LaFonso Ellis with the plan, the master jam. He scores 15 to the disgust of Western Michigan coach Bob Donewald. Irish win it 63-56. Villanova trailed Virginia 83-77 with 12 seconds left. Over, right? Nova brings the ball down and hits the quick 3. Still down by 3 with 7 seconds left. They need to steal the Cavs' inbounds pass, and Lance Miller does just that. But they need 3. He goes for the short shot and the foul and gets it. Or does he? The ref says the foul was before the basket. No hoop. Villanova loses to Virginia 83-80. The Vols take UAB by 3. Kansas State knocks off Western Kentucky. Pitt nips Penn State. And Washington State...
Follow shot is good by Ray Schultz. And the Explorers go up by 8.
When LaSalle's needed it, they've been able to get the offensive rebounds, and Seton Hall is really in trouble right now.
DeHare tries to go one-on-one. Nothing there. He backs it out. This zone defense has really confused Seton Hall. They're not getting anything in the middle of the zone. Brian Caver puts up a 3, his 3rd of the game.
And that's a pretty decent way to attack the zone. DeHare penetrates in, forces the zone to collapse and defend the inside, and then that's a wide open 3-pointer for Caver.
Woods with a quick release.
And there's Levers with another offensive rebound.
Levers and Braun Holland have done a great job. Woods gets a second chance and misses, but he won't stop shooting. Gotta love that mentality, huh? Woods with that quick pair of hands.
He's got great quickness in his hands. He steals it again.
Burke to Schultz. Schultz rebounds, and Karnisovas ties him up. And the arrow points to LaSalle.
Certainly one that people should be surprised about.
Woods for three. Bingo.
Oh, wow.
That's an NBA three-pointer he just hit, and he's got 26 points. An 8-point lead for LaSalle with 7:50 left.
And the scary thing for Seton Hall is he's not shot his three-point shots very well at all today. If he's going to heat it up from three, you're in big trouble if you're the Seton Hall Pirates.
Mentioned his season high is 42. He's done that twice. His career high is 46 last year.
That's a lot of points.
Oh, yeah. Brian Caver with the off-balance shot. He gets the roll to make it 60-54 LaSalle.
End of the court.
Woods shooting a 1-and-1. Is Woods a pro prospect? You bet. Speedy Moore says guys like Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues and Michael Adams can play. So can Woods, but he will have to make a transition because in the NBA, you'll have to be a point guard. There aren't many 5'11" two guards in the NBA.
Game's all over, folks. Here's Mel Proctor and Dan Bonner at courtside there.
Mel Proctor with Dan Bonner, Greensboro, North Carolina, with a minute left in the game. Seton Hall leads by 2. LaSalle has led for most of the game and led by as many as 9 points. It's been just within the last minute that Seton Hall has taken the lead. Jack Hurd scores, and the score is tied at 76.
Well, Seton Hall has made 9 of its last 11 shots. The Pirates have struggled offensively the entire game, but in the stretch, they've gotten hot when they desperately needed to do so.
This is perhaps when that tournament experience comes into play, and Seton Hall was in the tournament last year.
Only about a couple of tenths of a second difference between shot clock and game clock.
Out of the final seconds, Seton Hall working for what they hope will be the game winner. Terry DeHare's had a good second half.
Sometimes it's not the shot, it's the rebound, Mel.
DeHare! A two-pointer by DeHare has given Seton Hall the lead with 1.8 seconds left. And LaSalle has taken a timeout. Hall will call a timeout. Paul Burke will inbound for LaSalle. Fakes the long pass, winds up, fires it long. Batted away and picked off by DeHare. And Seton Hall has come from behind to win it. A heartbreaker for LaSalle. The Explorers led for most of the game, but Seton Hall outscored the Explorers 16-6 over the last 4 minutes to win it.
Seton Hall, Mel, only turned the ball over.
Last few minutes of the game, Randy Woods, the big guy for LaSalle, and here he goes behind the back, the layup sweet. LaSalle +6 in the first half. Then Randy on the defensive end gets the steal, doesn't shoot it this time, feeds teammate Jack Hurd, who bangs home the 3. LaSalle maintains a 6-point lead second half. And then in the corner, Woods fakes out DeHare, hits the 3. Randy with 33. LaSalle led by 8, but with less than 2 seconds to go. Terry DeHare wins it for Seton Hall, 78-76, and Channel 10's Al Meltzer, who's in Greensboro, North Carolina for the game, has more LaSalle season ender.
There are 63 out of the 64 teams that are going to go home feeling like the LaSalle Explorers did this afternoon. They gave it everything they had. With that 1.8 seconds left, go to Mark.
When you look at the game plan, you don't feel you get beat with the long-distance shooting, do you?
No, you don't, Al. We're really down, but you got to give the other guys credit. Seton Hall made some big shots when they had to, and that's what we're supposed to do.
What'd you tell the kids when you got them in the locker room?
Well, we told them that, number one, that we know there's nothing we can say is going to make them feel better, but we're damn proud of them. They've done a lot. There's 5 seniors here. They've played in 95 wins and 4 postseasons and a lot of different championships, and they can leave with their heads high, and they've done a lot for the LaSalle community, and everybody in the LaSalle community is very, very proud of them.
For Randy Woods, the All-American, 33 points in the end of a brilliant career.
What did you feel like, though, when you walked off the floor and you knew that was it?
Well, it really hit me inside that was my last game. You know, one shot really, Terry DeHare really ruined my chances to keep going on.
From Greensboro, I'm heading for Atlanta, Temple, Michigan, tomorrow night. This is Al Meltzer, Channel 10 Sports.
And we will hear from Al then. In a minute, we'll give you all the scores from day one. First, though, some pictures of tonight's action, beginning with the big guy. LSU center Shaquille O'Neal. He fired in 26 points against Brigham Young. Also pulled 13 rebounds. Look at this strong. Ouch. He also blocked a tournament record 11 shots in one game. Get out of here. BYU does. 94-83 the final. Number 1 Duke against Campbell. Bobby Hurley. And watch him move the ball around. To Grant Hill. To Thomas Hill, no relation. 20 points for Thomas Hill. Blue Devils dancing. Then Hurley to Grant Hill. Why not Christian Laettner this time? Duke wins at 82-56. Randy Ayers of Ohio State against Mississippi Valley State. And Lawrence Funderburg, what an addition. A transfer from Indiana, paying big dividends. Ohio State wins at 83-56 against Miss Valley State. Georgia Tech beats Houston behind John Barry 17 points, 65-60. And Florida State's a winner as well against Montana. Sam Cassell coming down. Yeah. Seminoles win it 78-68. Check the boards. And advancing to second round play, Seton Hall will now face Missouri, which won over West Virginia. Duke will now face Iowa, a winner tonight against Texas. In the Southeast, North Carolina will meet Alabama in round 2. Ohio State's next opponent, Connecticut, which won big against Nebraska. In the West, Georgetown beats South Florida and will now face Florida State in the second round on Saturday. LSU, big. Indiana, big. We'll have a big one, it looks like, on Saturday in
Hamilton for walking. I never thought he had possession of the ball, but walking it is. Oklahoma doesn't like it on the play, and this cost them. Marty Fletcher so happy.
And they beat him a year ago, too, the Raging
They did. They beat him 103-101.
And they advance now to face New Mexico State as the 12 seed takes out the 5 seed. The DePaul Blue Demons in this game knocked out round 1. And going coast to coast for the score is Sam Crawford. He's a good one for the Aggies of New Mexico State. They led by 12 at that time, but David Booth helped fight DePaul back into this game.
Booth had 19 points, but DePaul turned the ball over, Jim, 18 times, never got in sync, and there's a man right there wished he was in the tournament. Jerry Tarkanian sitting with a man that wishes that he was in the tournament as well. Bill Bradshaw, the athletic director of DePaul, not very happy with the outcome of this game.
And the exclamation point with the dunk at the end by Cliff Reed, and we're assured of a Cinderella team in the regional round because 12 and 13 seeds will meet on Sunday.
Possibility with a big
7 winner over St. John's in the Green Waves, first appearance ever in the NCAA tournament. So, Billy, look.
And you've got to be aware now, Temple is throwing up 3-point bombs like they're nothing.
Yeah, but you know what they've been able to do right here? I mean, Mick Kilgore has been able to get himself inserted back into the offense so you can get something from the inside, because you cannot keep him shooting jump shots because the averages are against you. Where he has the advantage of having Chris Webber, but he's not a go-to guy in terms of posting up, getting him the basketball.
Michigan now with Webber and Riley, Jalen Rose, Jimmy King, and Rob Pelinka.
And this is a time we can really see the test on the young freshmen. Will they play experience, not try to hoist up a shot real quick? This is when they'll get tested.
Kilgore got 1 out of 2, and Temple is within 2 of Michigan.
That's backcourt. You bet. And as soon as he threw the basketball, Temple got him right at the half-court line, and they forced him to stop, and he tried to throw it to Jalen Rose, and there's no way to get it. That's the kind of turnover I was talking about, because this is the first time it's gotten this close to him, as the turnovers have now gone 10 for Michigan, 6 for Temple.
And Temple with a chance to tie or take the lead with a 3. McKee takes a look inside at Strickland and keeps it outside.
They're going to be patient. This is Temple. They want to work the shot clock.
Kilgore had it taken away from him. 3-on-1. Webber back for King. And it doesn't fall. Webber follows, no good, and Kilgore with the rebound.
That's a freshman mistake right there. You ask about it, that's one right there. Chris Webber's got to make the play.
3-pointer, no good. Rebound, McKee, and he's fouled.
See, that's a big exchange right there. Instead of Chris Webber worrying about getting him behind his back, there's a guard down there that cannot stop him from going to the basket. He's got to get it in the basket. Since he's not going to want to pick up that fourth with 11:22 to go.
McKee for the tie. And we are all even at 53 with 11:22 to play. We'll be back. First lead since 6 minutes had gone by in the first half. Brunson. And McKee will bring it back out and start it all over with Vic Karstafen.
They get Strickland to bring Weber out on the court. One of the guys that are going to probably try to get this thing is to Aaron McKee because he's tough.
Eddie Jones. Three-pointer is good. 56-53 Temple. Their first lead since they led 11-10 in the first half.
Well, this is where you can't afford to panic, and you'll see experience, whether it's tournament or not, whether you'll see it come into play. That's a shot.
Three-pointer, no good.
Yeah, that's a shot you don't need. You can get that shot.
And the possession arrow favors the Wolverines.
Craig, they've been able to hold on, the Wolverines have, because they had a chance to break down when the score got tied after being up as much as 14. And Juwan Howard got his fourth foul, and they were able to bring in Hunter, and they kept the lead from getting too far away from them, and they got Juwan Howard in, and he's played like the last 3.5 minutes with 4 fouls, and that's helped because he creates other opportunities.
Rose to Jackson on the baseline.
Like that, because you've got to be aware of both Howard and Weber, and you let people like Jackson get free. With Weber on the line, he's a 49% foul shooter.
Karstafen, three-pointer doesn't go. Loose ball, picked off, and scored.
Way to get some quick baskets, and then they have to start fouling on the part of Michigan.
Brunson, out of bounds to Michigan.
All right, we talked about freshmen.
To about 50 seconds. Three-pointer on the way, no. Tap back, Karstafen. And McKee takes it back inside, scores, and they call a timeout. 43.8 to play. 69. Karstafen. Brunson.
Right there.
And
shot that one like he knew what he was doing.
30.
You force him to get it in and foul him. They let him get away.
Weber grabbed the rebound. Brunson fouled Rose.
And of all the people on the team, this is the guy that likes to have the ball down the stretch, and part of it is he has so much confidence in his ability to make foul shots.
McKee fakes once, traveled before he got the shot off. Connick.
They don't have any timeouts.
71-66.
And you got to say the experience wasn't able to overcome the talent, and that's what you've got in terms of what Michigan has. They've got 5 players that they are very, very talented.
And Polinka hits them both.
Well, the game that's going to have to be played after this, you know, Arizona's got to play East Tennessee State, but it's going to be a good one. But I'm telling you, these are first-year players. They took a good challenge here, Greg, because it was very easy for them to just kind of fall back and say, yeah, we got off to a great start. You know, with freshmen, we don't know quite how to close this thing, but they came back with it and came strong and got themselves away with a 73-66.
McKee will dial up a 3 right here, and Temple's in the ball game in the second half. In fact, when Eddie Jones will hit this basket, Temple was up by 4 midway through the second half. Michigan fans had to be wondering at that time. But then Michigan's muscle will take over. Jalen Rose with the 3 right here. He had 19 points. Guy's a freshman. Then Rose to Ray Jackson, who is also a freshman. They got 5 of these guys. The other way, but really jumping tonight, John Chaney, not bad, but the best is the freshman Chris Weber at 6'9". Look at this guy. Steals and goes. Looks like Magic Johnson. Michigan wins it 73-66. More on the game from Scott Palmer tonight.
It was the first time in history 5 freshmen started an NCAA tournament game. But these are no ordinary freshmen. What they are is extraordinary athletes.
Very talented players and athletic. You watch them on television, and when you get out there in the court with them, it's like whole different thing.
With 7 minutes left, the Owls were up by 2. This was definitely a winnable ball game. But then they went stone cold, making only 3 of their last 17 shots.
We missed some of the big shots down the stretch, but, we try to pick it back up with our defense. But, unfortunately, they stepped up and hit the big shots they needed. needed to.
Well, it's a good feeling. I mean, you hear a lot of people talking about us being a young team and may not be able to respond to a challenge like this, but, you know, it was a hard-fought game. We had the lead, you know, Temple had the lead, but Michigan got the victory.
After the game, Temple coach John Chaney credited his players for their effort, and he also took a few shots at Temple critics.
Criticized the Sixers, they criticized Villanova, they criticized LaSalle for being there, they criticized Temple for being there. But Temple's been in the NCAAs 8 out of the last 9 years.
So John Chaney continues to be outspoken even as his Owls go out of the NCAA tournament. I'm Scott Palmer, Channel 6 Action News with Temple in Atlanta, Georgia.
So who is left? Princeton in progress to the lone local team alive right now. The Tigers are tangling with Syracuse. They are losing by the score of 45-34. Delaware getting ready for the Bearcats of Cincinnati, but they couldn't prepare for that swarming defense of the Bearcats. Watch them right here. Couldn't bring the ball over the timeline at times. Anthony Buford goes for 2. It was simply a Bearcat blowout by 38 points, 85-47. But Delaware says, wait till next year. We're not all that blue, say the Blue Hens.
We will be back. We will be back. It's not a doubt in my mind. I think, you know, everyone likes the experience that we had here. You know, it was all smiles. It was all fun, you know, while it lasted. And I definitely say, you know, Delaware is going to be back next year for the 1993 NCAA championships.
All right, range of emotions on the Delaware campus. Please, please. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah. But they lost. All the scores, Princeton and Syracuse right now. Massachusetts over Fordham. Kentucky.
And Anthony Reed swatting Malik Sealy. David Whitmore at the other end pulls up and hits the shot. Tulane up 5 at halftime, 35-30. Tulane up 2, 21 seconds left. Pointer Williams, nice drive to Anthony Reed. He nails it, and that just about seals the victory. As Tulane gets their first ever victory in the tournament, the number 10 seed knocking off the number 7 seed, 61-57 the final. The Posse, 20 points, 5 steals, and 6 blocks coming off the bench. So a look at the bracket right.
First major upset went down in the West, just like Oklahoma. Southwestern Louisiana beats the Sooners 87-83. Byron Starks 21 for the Ragin' Cajuns. DePaul led New Mexico State just once when the score was 2-0. Then the pass came back to haunt Blue Demon coach Joey Meyer. When New Mexico State's Sam Crawford was a high school senior, Meyer recruited him. Then Meyer found out Crawford was only 5'8", and that was that. The payback was Sam's 21 points and 11 assists in an 81-73 Aggie defeat of DePaul. Tulane won the first NCAA tournament game in their school history just 7 years after the basketball program was shut down with a 61-57 surprise of St. John's. David Whitmore, 15 points and 6 rebounds for the Green Wave. Then there was the other side, the blowouts, including Cincinnati's 85-47 destruction of Delaware that ended the Blue Hens' 20-game win streak in convincing fashion. Nick Van Exel's 18 points paced the Bearcats. And Oklahoma State's 100-73 whipping of Georgia Southern. A close game early in the second half, then the Cowboys scored 20 points to Southern's zip, starting with 16 minutes to play. Byron Houston, 29, Sean Sutton, a career best, 22 for Oklahoma State. After a 3-year absence, Kentucky returned to the tournament with an 88-69 victory over Old Dominion. Wildcat senior John Pelfrey led all scorers with 22 points. Justice Thigpen scored 20 for Iowa State as the Cyclones beat UNC Charlotte, but the 49ers hurt themselves with just 3 of 18 3-point shooting. Iowa State wins it 76-74. Michigan State held off a pesky Southwest Missouri State team 61-54. Dwayne Stevens led the Spartans with 17. The Fordham Rams back in the tournament for the first time since 1971 when Digger Phelps was their coach, and they make a quick exit after losing to UMass. The Minutemen have won 13 straight. Princeton can't knock off Syracuse. The Orangemen win it. Michigan's Fab 5 freshmen were fabulous in a win over Temple. East Tennessee State, the shocker of the tournament, they knock off Arizona. Kansas conquers Howard. UTEP over Evansville. Wake falls to Louisville, and UCLA over Robert Morris.
To the day from Milwaukee in the NCAA tournament. Number 2 USC goes down to Georgia Tech in a thriller. Tied with time running down, the Trojans' Rodney Chapman buries the baseline J to put Southern Cal up by 2. But wait, there's 0.8 of a second left. The Yellow Jackets inbound it to the freshman, James Forrest, who whirls and nails the triple at the buzzer. 79-78, Georgia Tech bounces number 2 USC from the tournament. Up next for Bobby Kremen's club, Memphis State. The Tigers knocked off the number 3 seed Arkansas Razorbacks 82-80. David Vaughn follows up his own miss with 5 seconds left to lift Memphis State to their second win of the year over the Hogs. Out west, the Shack did his part, but one man can't beat five. Indiana downs LSU 89-79, but don't fault Shaquille O'Neal. The Shack threw down 36, but the Hoosiers got a 30-point performance from Calbert Chaney to advance to the finals. Afterwards, Bobby Knight was asked about the Shack.
Which one was O'Neal?
He was the big one.
Was good. Very good.
I said when I left the hotel today, and then I'm going to make one more statement and shut up. Whoever wins this game will win the national championship. I think Indiana won the national championship.
Had he been drinking anything between when he came in here and after the game? I mean, could you detect any glaze over his eyes or anything? Was this a...
No more than usual.
There's a time when I would have done something with that comment. You know?
The Hoosiers will take on Florida State next. The Seminoles rallied to top Georgetown. Duke had little trouble with Iowa 75-62 the final, but it was never really that close. Christian Laettner had 19 points, 10 boards. His good buddy Brian Davis, 21 points. The Blue Devils looking to repeat the first time since UCLA did it in 73. Mike Krzyzewski Club takes on Seton Hall next. The Pirates routing Missouri. On to the Southeast. North Carolina advances to the Sweet 16 for the 12th straight year. The Tar Heels take on the Buckeyes. Ohio State crushed Connecticut. NBA, anytime our first overtime game of the tournament, and it wasn't a pretty sight. Syracuse and Massachusetts. The name is Harper Williams, and he's the guy who propels UMass into the Sweet 16. Up one in overtime, shot clock running out. Williams jacks up the off-balance three, and in it goes. Just his second triple of the year. Jim Calipari's Minutemen move on to face Kentucky with a 77-71 win over the Orangemen. The Wildcats survived Iowa State 106-98. Jamal Mashburn showing the way with 27. Kentucky moves into the final 16 after missing the dance the last couple of years because of probation. Biggest upset of the tournament came in Dayton, where Texas El Paso bounced top-seeded Kansas 66-60. Johnny Melvin wheeling for 18. Don Haskins' squad advancing to the round of 16 against Cincinnati. The Bearcats a 77-65 winner over Michigan State, revenging a 1-point loss to the Spartans earlier this year. Anthony Buford led the way with 21. In the Southeast, Michigan ran past East Tennessee State 102-90. The Fab freshman clicking on all cylinders. Chris Webber leading the way with 30. You can't dance with these Wolves, but the Cowboys of Oklahoma State will try. They go to the regionals by knocking off the Green Wave 87-71. Corey Williams and big Byron Houston each tossed in 27. Still a great year for Tulane. They finish at 22-9. And finally, out west, UCLA moves on with an 85-69 win over Louisville. Tracy Murray had 26, Don McClain 23. Jim Herrick's club is 27-4. Up next, New Mexico State. Cliff Reed had 21 points, 11 boards in their 81-73 win over the raging Cajuns of southwestern Louisiana. Watch out for Neil McCarthy's club. The regionals are right in their backyard in Albuquerque. NBA, big win for...
1 of 2 for Karnisovas. He was shooting 3, so he'll get a third.
And with Karnisovas back in the basketball game, but he has 4 fouls, look for Seton Hall on their next couple of trips down floor to look for him around three-point area. He led the Big East in three-point field goal percentage of 52. And that's another value that he adds, not only defensively, but he's a good long-range shooter. They've got to get as much mileage out of him as they can while he's in the game.
Get a sense this is a very dangerous time now for Seton Hall. They've got to put it up a notch. Laettner, they just did. Blocked by Walker.
Take it.
Gaber pulls up and takes the jumper and then fires it short.
You got to take it to the basket 2-on-1. You don't pull up on the shot.
Karnisovas just fouled out.
Particular play, but those things will happen even to the great ones.
Seton Hall needs a couple more of those, but down the stretch of the game with Hurley controlling the ball pass for Duke, and the way they shoot free throws, Raph, they shoot it as well as anybody in the country on the foul line. That's a big key down the stretch. Hard to chase Duke.
The view from the Apple. Back to Philly and Vernon Lynn.
Okay, Patrick, 7:44 remaining in the ballgame. Another steal by Seton Hall. Winchester, who's having a terrific ballgame. And Leahy for 3. Yes! Mike Krzyzewski has seen all he needs. Duke timeout. The lead is 6. Siding Laettner. Nice position, but Thomas Hill gets the rebound. Putback is too strong. Leahy for Seton Hall.
Seton Hall dodged the bullet that time. I'm sure PJ wants somebody to block Thomas Hill off the board.
Gaber. Thomas Hill is doing a terrific job denying Leahy. There's the screen. Gaber scoots through. Air ball.
Now see, that's not a good decision. He can't take Christian Laettner without having to alter his shot. That's when you look for Laettner's man.
Laettner calls for it down low. They bring it back outside. 5:28 to go. Davis goes right by Winchester. He blew past him.
I'll tell you.
Our MVPs for Chevrolet. Gordon was senior year. He has played in previous games. Here's Leahy from the corner. And that'll be blue ball.
You know, that should be a reward for the winning intramural team with every college. You know, get the best player to play on the varsity.
I can see coaches all over the country going, ugh. He didn't really mean that.
Hey, it's for the student body.
That's right. Here's Clark. Thank you. Christian Ast gets the final basket of the game. And two good friends meet at center court. Mike Krzyzewski, P.J. Carlesimo, they will be assistants for the United States Olympic team that plays in Barcelona this summer. And Mike Krzyzewski has just won his 30th game in the NCAA tournament. In his 12th year, he is now 30-7. And this Duke team that has been to the Final Four each of the last 4 years, one step closer in its quest to defend successfully its national championship. It'll be Duke and Kentucky here Saturday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
And you knew UMass could work the clock in their NCAA East Regional semifinal, pulling to within 8 of Kentucky at the half after trailing by as much as 20. Unfortunately for John Calipari's club, a controversial technical foul against the coach late in the game and 30 by Jamal Mashburn were just too much for UMass. 87-77 Wildcats, who will next meet top-ranked Duke. The Blue Devils dumped Seton Hall 81-69 behind 16 apiece by Christian Laettner and Antonio Lang. At the pit in Albuquerque, Indiana ended Florida State's sensational season 85-74. Eric Anderson scored a season-high 24 to lead the Hoosiers. They'll tip off Saturday against UCLA, which knocked off New Mexico State 85-78. The Bruins' big man, Tracy Murray, who scored 21. Ramil Robb, the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament, and by the time the day is over, it'll be down to 6 with 2 teams claiming Final Four berths. Sound confusing? Not really. Finals of the West Regional later today, Indiana against UCLA, with the winner headed to the Metrodome and the Final Four. And then Kentucky at Duke, the finals of the East Regional. If Duke were to win, it'll be in the Final Four for the 5th straight year. Last night, Michigan claimed a spot in the finals of the Southeast Regional against arch-rival Ohio State by stunning Oklahoma State 75-72. 2 of the Fab Five freshmen fouled out, but fellow fresh Jalen Rose hung around to score 25 and paced the upset. For Oklahoma State, a tough loss to take, especially for the coach's son.
My basketball career is over, and unfortunately, making the Final Four is never going to happen. And the thing that I wanted the most when I decided to play for my father was a chance to get him back to another Final Four and help win his first national championship. And it's just very hard for me right now.
As far as Ohio State is concerned, it knocked out Dean Smith in North Carolina 80-73. Jim Jackson slumped early in the game, so Lawrence Funderburk picked up the slack. He scored 21. So it's an all Big Ten Southeast final. The Buckeyes beat the Wolverines twice during the regular season. It'll be an all-great Midwest final at, quite naturally, the Midwest Regional in Kansas City. Last night, Cincinnati outlasted Texas El Paso, and Memphis State beat Georgia Tech in overtime 83-79. John Berry led Tech with 29, but he was cold at the end, while Memphis State got 24 from Anthony Hardaway and 4 clutch free throws by Tony Madlock to put it away. As for Cincinnati, a 69-67 win over UTEP, which, despite the score, never had a shot at the end. 3 Bearcat starters in double figures. So it's Cincinnati and Memphis State on Sunday in a great Midwest rematch.
It's a great league.
And I think the scary thing from our standpoint is I lose these two guys sitting right here, and everybody else got everyone back. It's going to be a great league for years to come.
And they're willing to let Leitner get on the perimeter, and he hits that shot. It was simply a piece of NCAA history at the Spectrum tonight. 6 different times between the last minute of regulation and the last minute of the overtime. It looked like the end of the line for the defending champs from Duke. Kentucky coach Rick Pitino was trying to stop a run of 4 Final Four finishes, final minutes of regulation. Dale Brown gives Kentucky the lead with a 3. But with a minute left, it's Duke's Thomas Hill hitting the improbable leaner Duke by 2. But here comes Kentucky right back. John Pelfrey's shot, one of the few that doesn't go, but they get the follow, and we go to overtime tied at 93. Christian Leitner, the senior Duke center with an absolutely perfect night, puts Duke up 198 with that leaner. But Kentucky looks like sure winners. With barely 2 seconds left, Sean Woods with another improbable prayer that goes. Wildcats led at 103-102. Duke has 2.1 seconds to find their leader.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes!
What can you say? Remarkable, simply special. Christian Leitner, as I said, perfect, quite literally. No more so on than on the final pop. But he capped a 10-for-10 field goal performance to go with a perfect 10-for-10 at the line. I was there for the reaction to this, a piece of sports history tonight. This was a gut-wrenching scene. How can you call anybody a loser in this game? A few minutes later, and here was Duke.
Totally incredible, and I just thank God for giving us the opportunity and giving me the opportunity for putting us in that position to hit the shot.
Well, personally, I felt if he got the ball, we would win. He loves to make the big shots, loves to make the big plays, and when I saw the ball in the air, I just felt it was good.
Tell me about the huddle. You had time to prepare for this last play that they would run. What did you think? What were you trying to do?
We just wanted to keep everybody in front of us and then want to let anyone get behind us, and we accomplished that. You know, Christian caught the ball. You know, he was able to put it down on the floor. I don't know why, how, but he did, and he got the shot off in time and he hit it.
I really am stunned. This is... I'm not... Did that happen?
Kentucky shot 68% from the floor, 12 for 22 from the 3 and lost. Now Duke moves on to play the Hoosiers of Indiana. They beat up on UCLA earlier. Bobby Knight was looking to return to the Final Four for the first time since 1987. His Hoosiers in red, Damon Bailey leading the break to Chris Reynolds for the tough lay-in. Indiana by 15 at the break, and UCLA might have been feeling the pressure where it hurt. Second half, more of the same. Bailey drains the 3. He had 22. And Calbert Cheney led all scorers with 23, including the easy 2 here. Hoosiers win it 106-79. And hey, Coach Knight, did you have your game faces on?
In my entire adult life, I've never used the expression game face, so I have no damn idea what it means or what you're supposed to do. Yeah, how the hell do I know what she looked like?
Oh, boy. All right, pro hoops. The Sixers...
One half of the Final Four picture is complete. Duke and Indiana are off to Minneapolis. But in a wild one in Philadelphia, Duke beats Kentucky 104-103 in overtime. Final seconds of the game. Grant Hill with the inbound toss to Christian Leitner, who launched a shot that swishes through the net as time runs out. It's the second time Leitner has sent Duke to the Final Four with a buzzer beater. The last time was 1989 against Connecticut. They will meet Indiana in the Metrodome as the Hoosiers rolled past UCLA 106-79 in the West Regional Final in Albuquerque. Calbert Cheney pacing the Hoosiers with 23, Damon Bailey adding 22. Indiana clinching their first trip to the Final Four since 1987. But a national champ was crowned Saturday as Virginia Union stopped Bridgeport 175 for the NCAA Division II national title. Reggie Jones scoring 19 and Derek Johnson adding 17. It's the second straight year that Bridgeport was the runner-up.
Top seed Ohio State today, 75-71 in overtime. Now, the Wolverines, of course, won the national title back in '89 when the current starting 5 were just high school sophomores. Jalen Rose helps out there on the alley-oop. Wolverines become the first 6 seed to advance to the Final Four in 5 years. Ohio State did not go quietly, though. Funderburk there with a jam that tied at 57. But it was Chris Webber who forced overtime with this tip back in 63-63. And it was in overtime where the Wolverines put it away, 75-71. Chris Webber led the way with 23 points and 11 rebounds. Meanwhile, in Kansas City, Cincinnati, an 88-57 winner over conference rival Memphis State. Herb Jones scored 23 points, pulled down 11 bounds, en route to guiding the Bearcats to their first Final Four appearance since 1963. Today's win over Memphis State also marking the first time since '86 that a team has beaten an opponent 4 times in the same season. So, here's your Final Four matchup for next weekend in Minneapolis. Duke will take on...
With Cincinnati and Michigan joining the party. Sunday, the Fab Five of Michigan in overtime escaping the tenacious Ohio State Buckeyes 75-71 in the Southeast Regional in Lexington. Jalen Rose in overtime tossing in 6 of Michigan's 12. Chris Webber leading the Wolverines with 23. It's the second time in 4 years that Michigan has made it to the Final Four. The Cincinnati Bearcats are heading to Minneapolis. Sunday, Cincinnati stopping Memphis State 88-57 in the Midwest Regional Final in Kansas City. Herb Jones pumping in 23, Nick Van Exel adding 22. The Bearcats earned their first trip to the Final Four since 1963. Cincinnati heads to Minneapolis with an impressive 29-4 record.
The NBA playoffs are right around the corner, and that means one thing. The Boston Celtics are playing red-hot basketball. Boston withstood a 44-point third quarter by the Bullets to win their 7th in a row, 120-106. Reggie Lewis with 28. The Heat hammy for the final playoff spot in the East, 108-91. Charles Barkley, the big man again, with 24. The Hawks scored 24 as Virginia knocked off Notre Dame in overtime, 81-76, to win college basketball's oldest national tournament. Utah down Florida in the consolation game. 7 years to the day after his Villanova Wildcats shocked Georgetown to win the NCAA title, Raleigh Massimino left Nova to take over as head coach of the UNLV Running Rebels. And the NHL
NCAA tournament Monday night because the pupil schooled the teacher and the Duke Indiana matchup. 18 straight points and a technical foul on Bobby Knight were the keys. Christian Laettner finished with the career low 8 points. Bobby Hurley stepped up and supplied the offense. A career high 26 points, 81-78 the final Duke.
I think my first couple of shots that I hit were open shots. They were off penetration by Grant and also skip passes. So the first couple of ones were easy, and that's how I gained confidence.
Hurley just played extremely well with the basketball. Did a great job for it.
The Fab Five freshman needed a bit of tutoring against Cincinnati in the opening semifinal. James Vaskell, a junior who lost his starting spot this season, settled the Wild Wolverines with 9 points in the second half. Chris Webber's 16 points were a team high in the 76-72 win.
All during the tournament, he's been waiting his turn. And I was just, first of all, I was happy that he was scoring because we were winning. And second, I was just happy that he was showing everybody the type of player he is when he needs to be called upon. That's why we've been winning, because people don't cry and moan about the position they accepted and they take it and play like a man.
Off of that first half and coming back the way he is now.
He has 19 points, and Duke with its largest lead of 9.
Duke picking up their defense man-to-man, and Howard banging Lang inside, as is Webber with Laettner.
Voskuhl.
Lloyd getting up there and don't have any effort whatsoever available.
Voskuhl, 2 shots. Michigan now with that free. Now trying to contribute to the Wolverines championship hopes
And look
tonight.
at what happened. Michigan realizing Duke's going to try to occupy some time, picking up full court. Boy, that's asking a lot of effort. Steve Fisher has his team well scouted.
Laettner.
Voskuhl almost had that one.
Laettner called for it. He's doubled up, swings it over to an open Thomas Hill. Drives for the 2. Tipped up.
Oh, what a rebound by Thomas Hill. He really got off the ground on that play. Mike Krzyzewski loved it.
13 for Hill. Voskuhl, 3-pointer.
Oh, there was a push-off by Jimmy King. He knocked Thomas Hill right under the basket and got away with it.
Duke really is backing in on Howard. Sets a screen now for Hill. Oh!
Mike Krzyzewski is exhorting his team on the sidelines like a super jockey over there. He's got them going down the stretch again.
Webber.
Tough shot. He made it.
11th rebound. He has another double-double. Rose with a 3. tipped over the backboard. Duke basketball. Michigan has gone now almost 9 minutes with only 6 points. Remarkable stretch. Cincinnati.
Mike Krzyzewski's saying it's foul because
Can
we're not
Hurley
even in the 1-and-1 yet.
set him up? Yep. And a timeout called by Duke.
He wanted to get the other players in, Jim. That's why he called the timeout, not to rub it into Michigan. Sorry. Well, be the national crown.
Ossard. The game is over. The Duke of Destiny has won it. For the first time in 2 decades, college basketball has a repeat champion. Miles away, you can still feel the celebration back from Cameron. Duke is the 1992 race.
When it's done, win or lose, you always did your best, 'cause inside you knew that one shining moment you reach for the sky, one shining moment you knew, one shining moment you were willing to try, one shining moment you knew. One shining moment.
Double up for the Blue Devils. On Monday, they notched their second straight national championship. At the Metrodome, they trailed Michigan by 1 at the half. The Wolverines looking sharp. Chris Webber to Rob Pelinka. Who thought he could have done that? But in the second half, all Duke. Christian Leitner, who had just 4 points in the first 20 minutes, scored 15 in the second, and Bobby Hurley, steady play the entire way, named the Final Four's outstanding player. Duke wins it by 20, 71-51. Afterward, they were low-key about the whole thing.
It feels great to win back-to-back national championships. As far as the most outstanding player, I think it could have gone to a number of guys who stepped up at various times throughout these 2 games.
We've had a great run, and we lost to the champions, and we were there to take away the crown, and it didn't happen for us.
The baseball season opened. Go-ahead blow in the 10th off Lee Smith. New York wins it 4-2. The defending East champion Pirates opened up with a 2-0 shutout of the Expos. Doug Drabeck got the pitcher's best friend, the double play. He combined with Roger Mason on a 6-hitter. Elsewhere, the Padres knocked off the Reds. Darren Jackson with a game-winning homer, and the Giants walloped the Dodgers. In the American League, the christening of Oriole Park, and the O's fans loved it. Rick Sutcliffe and his O's premiere the distance on a 5-hitter. Baltimore shuts out Cleveland 2-0 the final. It was Toronto over Detroit. Jack Morris wins his Blue Jay debut. Twins knocked off the Brewers. Chuck Knobloch 4 for 5. Texas against Seattle. Nolan Ryan made the start for the Rangers. KC against Oakland. Bob Fusella.
Extra hit on the wrist, suffers a slight fracture of the left wrist, but he played the whole game and in fact was on base here in the third when John Kruk's single brings home number 4 to give the Phillies a 3-0 lead over Chicago. Top 4 off Terry Mulholland. Mark Grace crushes a homer to right that cut the Phillies lead to 3-2. Top of the 5th, Sammy Sosa, whom they acquired from the White Sox, comes and knocks a double off Terry Mulholland. Scores Greg Maddux. Phillies lose it 4-3, and Mulholland feeling badly afterwards.
I felt that I battled in certain situations, get out of some jams, and this game could have been a whole lot worse. Could have been a whole lot better too. So.
Good game for the pitchers. Maddux did a good job. He smelled the win, and he's been known to do that though. That's what he's all about. He can bear down, and he did.